Hello friends, today I'm going to explain a newly released Indonesian horror movie named Pusaka. This movie features a special kris, a kind of ancient dagger, which hides within it a mysterious power. The story of the movie is centered around this terrifying weapon. Watching this film is truly very thrilling. The story begins in a museum where we see several dead bodies lying around. They had been killed in such a way that it seems someone had attacked them brutally. Among them, one person was still alive. Right at that moment, a dagger, kris, suddenly moves, and from here, the real story begins. After that, we see 5 people traveling somewhere in a car. Among them is Nina, who owns a renovation company. Along with her were Ed, Sandra, Hana, and David. All of them were hired by Nina for a special project to convert an old house into a museum. That house used to belong to an ancient collector named Risang Wisang. Before dying, Risang wished that his house would become a museum so people could come and see his collection. His son Rodi gives this work to Nina's company to fulfill his father's wish. When they arrive at the house, Rodi and his sister Bian welcome them. Then Rodi introduces Nina to Professor Dirga and his assistant Mayang, who were in charge of the historical aspects of the project. This house, from the outside, looked big, but from the inside, it was even more astonishing. Hana, David, and Ed begin their work, but soon realize that finishing such a huge project in just 3 days would not be possible. At that moment, an old woman appears, and seeing her, they get scared. Later, it is revealed that she is actually the housemaid. In a flashback, we see that before dying, Risang had expressed his wish that his collection be turned into a museum for future generations. Meanwhile, we see that Bian is very introverted by nature and doesn't mix well with anyone. Sandra begins making nasty comments about Hana's past. Hana once had a private video go viral. Because of this, Sandra and David start arguing, and during this fight, a secret door opens. Inside this secret door, they discover a hidden room where many ancient weapons, statues, and strange items were kept. It is here that they find the kris dagger, around which a series of supernatural events begin to unfold. This kris wasn't just a weapon, it was a cursed object, inside which lived some kind of supernatural power. Mayang decodes a Brahmi script and reveals that long ago there was a kingdom called Janggala, which was destroyed in war. The kingdom was erased from history, but in 1970, during an excavation, a relic was found, which later mysteriously disappeared. Now, that very relic was the statue in front of them. During this discussion, Sandra picks up a kris dagger, and as soon as she touches it, her finger gets cut. After that, her finger starts rotting slowly, and she starts hallucinating, where she sees an old man. After this incident, Bian asks Professor Dirga, "Can a relic really be cursed?" Dirga replies with an example of a kris. He explains that in ancient times, the makers of kris used to wish that whoever uses it would benefit. He tells a story from the war between King Samarodsaha and Janggala. He wanted to create such a dagger that held extraordinary power, but suddenly Sandra gets possessed and starts saying, them, dagger makers, were forced to create a kris that had power. Then she suddenly starts vomiting black liquid and disappears. Later, we see her standing on top of a statue, saying that the power lies within the 7th kris, and to awaken it, blood is needed. Then she tries to kill everyone and stabs Professor Dirga with the dagger and throws him. Everyone realizes that the kris is the root of the problem. They try to escape, but Sandra chases them. David and the others try to stop her, but due to the power of the dagger, she becomes nearly immortal. After that, they split into 2 teams. One side has Hana, Nina, and Mayang. The other has Dirga, Rodi, David, and Bian. Sandra comes to the kitchen and attacks again, and she rips off the skin from Dirga's face, and then also pulls out some of his internal organs. This entire scene is horrifying and full of gore. Then Rodi confesses that earlier, some guards and thieves had died in this house, and the kris was behind it. Their father had kept it a secret. Outside, Damo turns on the generator and restores electricity. Ed tries to communicate with Damo using a walkie-talkie, but Sandra kills him. Finally, when Hana, Nina, and Mayang come downstairs, Sandra throws Damo's severed head in front of them. They start running to escape, but Sandra continues to chase them. Now Hana, Mayang, and Nina decide not to run away but to fight Sandra. But Sandra catches Hana and starts stabbing her with the kris. Then Mayang stabs Sandra with a fork, but Sandra uses that same fork to stab Nina. Meanwhile, hearing Hana's scream, David comes to help. At that moment, Sandra was approaching the three of them, but David hits her with a chair and knocks her down. Then everyone together pins Sandra under the dining table. After that, they all begin to escape. Hana and Nina hide in one room, while Mayang and David enter the secret tunnel again with Rodi and Bien and close the door. On the other side, Hana blocks the door using a shell, half-cut furniture. At this time, David starts arguing with Rodi again because he believes Rodi is responsible for all this. He says Sandra is not just possessed, she's now immortal, because even after attacking her multiple times, nothing is happening to her. Then Bien says they have to get out of here. If they stay too long, they'll die. Rodi then recalls that the gate can only be opened with the master key, but that key was with Damo. Now they must find Damo's dead body. At this moment, Bien finds his father's journal. It says, a kris maker had been summoned, who knew that after making the kris, he would be killed. So, he placed a curse inside the kris. Whoever owns this kris will no longer be the same. They'll be possessed and become bloodthirsty. After each death, a new curve will be etched into the kris. This cycle of death will continue until the kris finds its companion. Then the kris will return to being normal. Here it becomes clear that the king of Jengala had forced the kris to be made and later killed its maker. And that was the main reason for the downfall of the Jengala kingdom. Someone or another would touch the dagger, and each time after taking 7 lives the cycle would stop. So far, one person, Damo, has already died. During the earlier robbery too, 7 people, including thieves and guards, had died. Suddenly David remembers that Hana is still in danger. He rushes to save her. Then we see Hana and Nina hiding under a bed. Sandra finds Nina and drags her out and repeatedly stabs her to death. That means the second girl also dies. Then it's shown that another curve gets etched onto the kris. Hana tries to escape somehow, but she makes a noise by mistake. Just then, David comes and hides her behind him. Then the rest arrive too. Everyone tries to save themselves from Sandra, but Sandra stabs David and cuts Bien's hand. They fight and manage to knock the kris out of Sandra's hand, and Rodi picks it up. Then they all flee. David, Hana, Mayang and Bien hide under the stairs. Hana is relieved that David is not seriously hurt. Then Mayang reveals that whoever has been hurt by the kris is also cursed, which means Bien is not safe either. It's not just using the kris, but being injured by it also results in a painful possession curse. They think, if Sandra can be killed before she kills 7 people, then maybe everything will end. But nothing seems to affect Sandra. Then they remember, when Sandra was separated from the kris, she became weak. So they realize, if the curse started from the kris, it has to end there too. But before that, they need the master key to escape from this place. Mayang and Bien then go to the living room to look for the key. Meanwhile, Rodi, hiding with the kris, moves ahead and sees Ed and takes him along. They all look for the key, but Sandra reaches them. She tries to snatch the kris and slashes Rodi's neck, but he drops the kris and runs. Then the two hide in a room. Rodi starts arguing with Ed because he left him behind and ran. Ed, getting angry, says, "Today Rodi and his sister both will die." Rodi, enraged, kills Ed. Rodi then thinks, if he has to survive, then only his and his sister's lives matter. Let the rest die. Meanwhile, David was spending time with Hana. He tells her that he loves her, but now everything is coming to an end. Elsewhere, Mayang and Bien find Damo's body. He had the master key. They take it and go to the main gate where Hannah and David were. They try to open the door, and just then, Sandra appears behind them. But they open the door and escape outside. They hide in a place, but Sandra keeps searching for them. After a while, Sandra leaves. Then Mayang goes to get the car key but doesn't realize Sandra is behind her. She stabs Mayang with the kris. At that moment, a gardening cutter falls into Hannah's hand. She turns it on and drives it straight into Sandra's head. Sandra falls down, but she's still alive. She crawls toward the karis again, but David arrives and stabs her with the karis itself, finally killing her. Then we see another carve appear on the karis. Everyone thinks it's over now, but they were wrong. Bien and Hannah go back inside the house to get Roddy. And right then, David also becomes possessed. They had forgotten that it wasn't Sandra who needed to take 7 lives, it was the karis. Even Sandra was part of the count. Mayang tries to explain this to them, but David appears from behind and kills her. Bien and Hannah run away and find Roddy. Roddy takes them into the secret tunnel and locks the door from inside. The 3 of them sit together in one place. Roddy says they can't stay here long, the door could break down any moment. Then he says the only way to survive is they need to sacrifice David, because already 6 people have died. Hannah disagrees at first, but Roddy explains it must be done, or everyone will die. Bien also finds it logical, so Hannah, even though unwilling, agrees. They plan how to finish David. Suddenly, David breaks through the door and comes down. There he sees only Hannah. As David approaches her, Roddy drops a statue on him from above, trapping him underneath it. David himself tells Hannah to finish him. Crying, Hannah stabs him with the dagger and kills him. But after David dies, they see Bien is starting to become possessed. Everyone is shocked because Roddy's calculation was supposed to be exact. Then Roddy remembers, it's not just about the number of deaths. The deaths must happen through the karis. But he had killed Ed with his own hands, not using the dagger. Realizing this, he lunges at Hannah to kill her, but Hannah defends herself and kills Roddy using his own strength against him. Even then, Bien remains possessed because Hannah didn't kill Roddy with the dagger. So Hannah picks up the karis and kills herself because there was nothing left in her life anymore, and Bien had her whole life ahead. She had just killed the man she loved with her own hands. She couldn't live with that trauma. That's why she ends her own life. After Hannah's death, Bien is fully back to normal. She breaks down in tears seeing her brother dead. Then we see that the karis is now fully normal. No more carves appear on it. After that, Bien takes the dagger and walks up to the surface and sits down in one place. The next day, some guards arrive at the house and rescue Bien. The scene shifts. We see the whole house has now been turned into a museum. Many people are visiting it. The karis dagger is now displayed in the museum. I think, if someone tries to use the dagger for evil again, it will definitely take lives once more. I feel Bien's father was a very mysterious man. It's possible that he was a descendant of that royal family. That's why he made this plan to turn the house into a museum. Boom. That's where the movie Posaka ends. So friends, that was the complete explanation of the movie Posaka. I hope you enjoyed it. Personally, I think the concept of this movie is amazing, very unique. The gore effects were also excellent. Even though the story is a bit simple, it's still impactful. The whole plot revolves around a karis or dagger, which always demands 7 sacrifices. And when someone activates it, this cycle of death begins. This dagger was made by a king, who later killed its creator. And the creator already knew this would happen, so he cursed the dagger. That's what caused the fall of the entire kingdom. One more thing I noticed. Bien's father had a collection of many other karisis. So there's a high chance we'll see a sequel in the future. Actually, there's a Thai or Malaysian horror movie from 2019 with the same name, Pusaka. If you like this version, let me know. I'll explain that one too. If you like the video, hit like, and if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. Don't get too confused about the kill count. What really matters is, unless the karis claims 7 lives.